There he is. There he is. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, I told y'all, we got the homie Dom, man. Dominic Ferro, he's stepping up. He's making his second appearance now on a live. I mean, look, the chat enjoyed you last time, Dom. All right. They enjoyed you. They was like, yo, I like the takes he has. I like how he always just agreeing and stuff. I'm like, all right, okay, all right. So they said they needed you again. All right. So it's time. It is time, Dom. But first off, man, how everything good with you, man, on this here Cinco de Mayo?
Man, it is good to be back. It is a great day on Cinco de Mayo, coming off the May the 4th little Star Wars day. So it's been a little festive week to kick things off. But nothing's better than diving right into this Steelers draft class. Last time it was all speculation, but now we've got some dogs. And I think Omar Khan, I think he's done it again.
Okay. So let's talk about it. I mean, obviously, we know the picks that we had, right? Derek Harmon, 21st overall in the first round. Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa, we took him. 83rd overall in the third. Jack Sawyer at 123 in the fourth. Y.A. Black in the fifth at 164th overall. Then in my favorite round, the sixth round, 185th overall, Will Howard, quarterback out of the Ohio State University. Then in round 7, 226, Carson Bruner, little LB, little family tie. Shout out to Mark Bruner. And then at 229, round 7, Dante Kent, the corner return man out of Central Michigan. So let's get to it, Dom. How did you feel about the class as a whole, man?
And like I said, Omar Khan, he's done it again. The con artist, he just knows how to get the best value out of these guys. I really loved the Derek Harmon pick. He was a guy that I was super high on for months coming up to this draft. Listeners, you might have seen him a lot on the thumbnails because he was a guy who I was really hoping that the Steelers would go after.
I did notice. I was like, yo, you got this 5'5" of a lot. I like him, though. I like him.
he got a lot of love. And I always thought that he was the perfect fit for the Steelers defense. I thought it made so much sense. I know that a lot of Steelers fans, it seemed like they weren't too happy about this pick when it first happened. And I get it. It's not the flashiest pick. It's not what everybody wants to see.
We want quarterback.
Exactly.
Does he play quarterback?
We got our guy later on. But Derek Harmon, this is exactly what the Steelers fans, I think, really wanted deep down inside, because it takes me back to the past season when they were playing Baltimore, where Derrick Henry would run all over this team. And all I'd see on Twitter is, man, why can't we stop the run? Why can't we stop the run? We spend so much money on defense, but these guys just run all over us. Well, this solves the problem right here, because you got a guy who can play any type of football. He can line up anywhere for this defense. A ton of flexibility for the Steelers' defensive schemes. I think he's going to be a great pick. And you mentioned Y.A. Black. That's another guy who I'm super excited about. But Derek Harmon, it was a super deep defensive tackle class. And even though he was, I think, the fourth defensive tackle off the board, he was the guy who I'm most excited about, the guy who I think is most NFL ready and can make an immediate impact for this team.
Listen, I agree with you, man. I love your excitement about him, and I love the detail on the work as well. I hear you over there, Dom. Just know I hear you, baby. But yeah, man, positional flexibility is key. Production is key. And yeah, the Derrick Henry running for, what was it, almost 300 yards total rushing yards against us in that wild card game. You know that can't happen again. Like, not we don't want it to happen. It can't happen again.
and we've seen the blueprint from the teams like the Eagles, like Jalen Carter. You just need big dudes up front. I was all about building the trenches from the beginning. I think this draft really showed that that's what they're about. They're really trying to build the trenches up here.
And listen, man, you even brought up my man Y.A. Black. I'm like, as much as I'm excited about Derek Harmon because of the positional flexibility with his size, you look at Y.A. Black, my man is 6'6", 336 pounds. Like a mammoth of a man. I'm like, oh yeah.
He is a
We
beast.
are not
And the
playing around.
thing that really like opened my eyes up to this is I saw a comparison to Casey Hampton. And I always thought Casey Hampton was the biggest, baddest dude. And this guy's even bigger than him. 6'5",
love him. Hamp ain't never been this big, man. Love Hamp. Hamp ain't that big, man. Yeah.
Hampton was awesome too, but he's not as quick as Y.A. Black, I don't think. Like, I was watching the highlights right before this. This guy he just aligns with that need for that depth and rotational players that we need on this line. I do think he's a little bit raw,
Yeah.
but he's quick. He's got sneaky athleticism to him. This is a guy that I wasn't really familiar with, but now the more I watch, the more excited I get about him. He's a huge dude.
No, without a doubt, man. And it was funny. I was like, man, who would have known? Another Iowa defender. Clearly, we got a type. All right, we like Iowa defenders. I don't know if you know that, man.
They like the Big Ten this year.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we tapped into that a lot. I mean, whether you're talking drafted or even some of the undrafted guys. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you look at them, I'm like, yo, these dudes are very fundamentally sound. And then when you throw in their athleticism, it's like, all right, if I got fundamentals and you're giving me above average or even high level athleticism, that's what gets you drafted. That's what makes you really intriguing at this level, because that's what translates. You know, everybody is athletic and fast, but it's like, can you be fundamentally sound? Can you do what you're supposed to do on top of that? And those Iowa players, man, they consistently been showing that, man. So shout out, man. But
yeah,
go ahead. I'm gonna cut you off.
I was just gonna say, like, they play pro style football at Iowa. Like, it might not be pretty, the scores might not be exciting, but like they're playing an NFL style football. Yeah. So that excites me about these guys. And Caleb Johnson, that's another.
I was literally about to ask you about him. How'd you feel about the Caleb Johnson pickup, man?
Now, he's a guy who was exciting. Like, it was a fun name going into this draft and maybe taking him.
Yeah.
But, you know, watching him, he reminds me a lot of Najee Harris. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Okay. I'm about to say, because you know.
Maybe a change of pace. I don't know. I don't know if they'd love it. But I'm a fan. I think he fills in nicely for that Najee Harris. He's a physical back. I think he's going to fit well in the AFC North style football. You know, you need that physical presence here in those short yardage goal line situations that the Steelers always find themselves
224 pounds at 6'1". I'm like, yeah, that's about big size. That's James Conner size right there, man. Yeah.
Did you get Najee Harris vibes from him?
I did. I got some of that, but I think I got a little bit more of like Melvin Gordon, just not as explosive though. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like their vision and they're more of that like zone type downhill. Whereas when I think Najee, I'm always thinking like, man, Najee, why are they playing with that man? Downhill, A gap, stay in the A gap.
Yeah,
A gap is where you do right. Like I think with Caleb, he could get a little bit more on that perimeter. I think he has a little bit more juice there, just not full on Melvin, who could obviously go 80, beating everybody around the corner. I think that Caleb, though, he put his foot in the ground. If you're not careful, he can get north and south and hurt you. I think he's more dynamic there than L. Bell was in terms of the top end speed.
Yeah, I think he's definitely, like you said, downhill runner. And I think that kind of fills in vibe. But yeah, I agree. He does have some speed, but I don't think you're going to see him breaking away any big runs, which, you know, maybe that's not the type of running back we're looking for, which I think is fine. But I think he's going to complement Jaylen Warren really well. And the thing I saw from Caleb Johnson that really showed that they're trying to kind of replace Najee Harris in the aggregate is that this guy didn't have a fumble, or I think he had 2 fumbles during his whole time at Iowa. He didn't have one, I believe, 2 years ago. I mean,
ball security.
Protects the ball. He's going to be consistent. You know what you're going to get from him. So,
and he can catch out the backfield too. I say he can catch out the backfield. So I was like, that's definitely a nice addition as well. I think the big question is going to be, number one, the durability part. And not saying that he's not durable. It's just we saw Najee play 4 consecutive seasons here and not miss. Like, the dude played behind the bottom O-line, the work in progress O-line, and then all the nice resource O-line. The guy doesn't miss. The guy doesn't fumble. And it's like, that's a big ask for any player. I mean, we even see where Jaylen Warren has struggled to do that. So that's my only thing in terms of availability is going to be the big concern. And then what's his pass blocking look like? Not saying that he can't, but we know that that's one of the things that Najee, that Jaylen Warren, that Le'Veon Bell, that James Conner, that D'Angelo Williams, anybody that's been a feature back here, they've had to been able to pass block. Otherwise, Coach Tom is not going to be able to put him out there like that, and then it limits what we can do with them. So I'm like, as long as he could do those things, I think that, man, this could be a very nice addition to that offense, man.
Yeah, and especially in the 3rd round, like you can compare him to Najee Harris. I mean, Najee Harris was the
It's
number
the
one
first
back in
round.
that draft.
Yeah.
And to get him in the third round here is, again, it's just a steal. I think
Mm-hmm.
getting him here, I personally didn't expect it in the third round. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, I love it, man. Love it. All right, now let's talk though, man, because this one was the one that kind of had Steelers Nation on social media up in arms. They kind of went cray with this
Yeah.
one. Fourth round hits. We got a couple of names out there, right? It was obviously a Alec Ayamanor, wide receiver from Stanford, was on the board at this time. There happened to be this quarterback, Shador Sanders, was on the board at this time.
Yeah.
Just a couple other people out there, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, they went with a position that coming into the draft, people weren't putting it high on the needs list. But they went Jack Sawyer, outside linebacker, edge rusher, Ohio State.
I mean, they're sticking to the game
Hey,
plan.
talk to me, man.
You know how valuable these edge rushers are in the Pittsburgh defense. We know we got dogs, but there's never too many. You can never have too many. And, I know Steelers fans weren't too happy. And personally, when it first happened, I was like, okay, this isn't my favorite pick so far. But the more I thought about it, there isn't anyone else I'd rather have, outside of a receiver maybe. Shador would have been, I guess, a little interesting. But Jack Sawyer, he is born to be a Steeler, in my opinion.
Okay,
Like, he's got the stuff that you can't teach. He's got the stuff like his effort, his physicality, clutch factor. He knows when to make these big-time plays. These are things that, he might
Team
be
captain,
undersized.
too. Team captain at
That's
Ohio
right.
State, too, man.
These type of things that can't be taught go a long way, especially in the locker room, I think. And, Jack Sawyer, his numbers may have not been great at the combine. He might be a bit undersized, but I think he's born to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. He just plays their brand of football. And I think he will be a contributor in this defense. And we've talked about before, we don't like to say it much, but TJ Watt's going to be asking for a lot of money here.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that.
Either pay
Stop
up,
it.
either
Stop
pay
it.
up or figure it out.
No.
But
No.
they're figuring it out right now. They're getting more weapons. Yeah, I'm excited for him. He's got a high motor.
Look, man, Jack passed the eyeball test, all right? When you 6'4"-ish, 260-ish, got a whole bunch of tattoos on you, you look the part. He looks the part, okay? He was productive. And then, like you said, when you are on the new gauntlet college football playoffs that he had to run, and you make one of the biggest plays, think about that. That play, one of the biggest plays.
Yeah, he sealed the game.
He
with
sealed
that
the game.
forced fumble.
He did that, the trifecta. Sack, force fumble, scoop, and go ahead and dance in the end zone, baby. Like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that sends a little bit of a message to the room. Like, all right, he's not just here because we were bored and we didn't have anybody to pick. No, he's here because he can actually go. We think he can actually play. And yeah, that makes me a little bit nervous about the negotiation. I'm like, all right, what you doing that for? What was that for? All right, hopefully we just want heavy stocks in the outside linebacker. Hopefully that's what it is, man.
I mean, we saw it last year. We were down bad at certain points.
Yeah,
where
very
guys
true.
had to be off the field where you're really dependent on Nick Herbig. And I love Herbig. I think he's a great player, but he's got to get off the field sometime.
Yeah.
And you can't just have average edge rushers in this league, especially with this Steelers roster. I think Jack Sawyer, as much as I didn't love it at first, I'm growing to love it more.
Okay,
and more. He's I couldn't see him in any other jersey than black and gold, honestly.
I like it there. Look, he looks the part. When you talk about Ohio State defender, first off, man, he's physical, he's athletic, and he's productive. Love all of that. But then you throw the leadership in there as well. I'm like, yeah, you put him in the black and gold. I think, he's a perfect guy to learn from a TJ Watt, to get in there with the Alex Highsmith or Nick Herbig. Like, I'm excited about it, but at the same time, it's just that underline of, all right, now.
I feel like
nothing weird's going to happen,
Watt,
right?
I feel like TJ Watt was kind of talked about similar coming out of college. The name played a factor in him, I think, getting a lot of hype. But there were a lot of people at the time saying, like, he doesn't have the measurables. He's not built to be an NFL edge rusher. I've heard the same things about Jack Sawyer. But the difference between, I forget other edge rushers in TJ Watt's class, but the difference between TJ and those other guys was that he fights harder than any of these guys. He's got a higher motor than any of these guys. He's got grit that just can't be taught. And I think Jack Sawyer falls right in line with that.
Mm-hmm. We always say, man, it's not what you're capable of, but what you're willing to do. And we always say, man,
100%.
dudes like TJ Watt, you could just see they're willing to do a lot more, both, on the field and in their spare time to make them the best in the world. And I think that Jack Sawyer, man, I can see what you're already seeing with that. And yeah, some of our Ohio State fans that we have in the chat over here, they agree with you as well. Shout out to all of
There
y'all.
we go.
All right, shout out to y'all. And if y'all are enjoying the homie Dominic Ferro being on, man, make sure you hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you're new to the channel. All right, now we got to talk about this here quarterback because we finally picked this one. We needed one. We was talking about him. We named a lot of quarterbacks, Dom, up until this process. But we have the answer. Will Howard.
Yeah.
Captain.
How can you not be excited
NCAA champion. He was the inverse to Jack Sawyer on defense. He was on offense doing it, getting it done. How'd you feel about this pick right here, man? Talk to me.
And to get him at this point in the draft is somewhat of a miracle. People are saying how weak of a quarterback class this is. There were some guys that excited me, especially later in the rounds. I had talked about guys like Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers. Will Howard was even in that.
You can't say later in the rounds. Dylan Gabriel ain't no later round guy, early round guy. Come on, man. You mean later round?
Listen, he wasn't expected. I don't think anyone expected him at the third round. That's when people were like, all right, something's
going on.
I like Gabriel, but I don't know about that.
Oh, man.
But to get Will Howard at this point is really, like I said, a miracle. This guy, he's got elite physical tools. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what you want from an NFL quarterback. 6'5", 240. I hate to draw these comparisons.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Say the other one.
He's got a long
say the other one. Say the black and gold one. Say the other one. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
The size and the durability. You can't help but think about Josh Allen. I mean, you just can't. Now the arm strength, it's not on his level, certainly not close, but it is above average, I'd say. He can certainly push it downfield. And he knows when to run the ball. He knows when to pass it. He's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing that does remind me about Josh Allen, especially coming out of college, is just the streaky consistency.
Yeah. Because
there were times when Will Howard looked like he was, a super careful quarterback. In the national championship game, I think he had, 10-plus completions in a row, had no interceptions. That was a perfect example of him being a guy who can, carry a team, lead them to victory.
And you saw the
Josh
plays
Allen,
that he made too at the end. You think about some of those plays he made where he had to make the big boy throw too. Also to a Jeremiah Smith out there, man. It's like, it's certain things he showed that I would agree with you on, man. Like, that's big
dangerous.
Boy. Mm-hmm.
He can be real dangerous. He's a little unpolished, but the thing that that I think dictates how a quarterback's career is going to go is what team they land on. And I think he landed in the perfect situation here. He's got the right system. He's got the right coaching. And from what I've heard from Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin, it seems like they're willing to let this guy develop, which you don't see a ton in the NFL anymore. And that excites me. I think this guy, like I said, he's unpolished, but there's a lot of things that can be cleaned up to make him one of the more dynamic quarterbacks in the league.
Now, I know you said they got time to let him develop, but just, as we sit here today, is it QB 1, 2, or 3? Just to you right now. As we sit here today, you know what I mean.
I think the team would say 3, but there's no way that they would put Skylar Thompson ahead of him. I'm just like, if that does happen, if they put Skylar Thompson ahead of him, they might have lost the plot. But I think Mason Rudolph is pretty comfortably QB1 right now, but it's a short leash. And I do still think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Steeler eventually.
So he got the handshake deal or something got to be going on, man, right?
Something. Because where else is he going to go? He's playing this year, but he's just dragging his feet at this point. So I do think it's going to be Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, and then Will Howard. I don't know what's going to happen with Skylar Thompson. But, I think Howard's got a bit of a wait before he gets his chance. But I think that's good.
Yeah, it'd be good for him. Definitely be good for him.
100%.
Yeah. And I'm with you. I'm still keep holding out hope for Rodgers. He done worked out with 2 Pittsburgh Steelers already. All right. 2 of them. DK and Caleb Johnson. All right.
That's right.
It's
he wanted them.
Everybody say, you think that just happened by accident? That don't happen by no accident. No, man. Come on now. Heck yeah, man. But then from there, man, we kept the bloodlines alive. You know, we got to keep a. Who's your cousin? Did your cousin play? Did your daddy play? Did your mama work here? Who you know in the building? If you know somebody, you got a chance, all right? But Carson Bruner, linebacker out of Washington, man. What were your thoughts seeing him as the pick in the 7th round?
Yeah, I mean, another guy sort of like Will Howard, he was a leader on his team.
Mm-hmm.
You're just building up the culture in this room. Yeah, like you said, this was the family pick of the draft, but I'm excited about it. I think it's a good pick. I think he could really make an immediate impact, especially on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said earlier, you can never have enough depth in the linebacker room. So I don't hate this one bit.
I like it. And then the final pick, man, Dante Kent went back to the Central Michigan. Will, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to them Central Michigan players over there, man. But how'd you feel about this pick right here, man? Him being the final one of our draft class.
Yeah, shout out to the Chippewas. You got to like them going late in the round. Late round for the Steelers. But yeah, Dante Kent, it was very interesting. I didn't watch a ton of Central Michigan games, but from what I've read about the guy, that he's got some return skills where maybe he could factor in on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I also saw that he's kind of on opposite ends of spectrums where he let up a ton of big plays, but he also had a ton of deflections. So he's a bit,
high risk, high reward.
Volatile,
yeah,
for sure, 100%. So yeah, it's exciting. You can never have too many quarterbacks. Hopefully, he gets a good shot there. I don't know what that cornerback room is gonna look like that this year, but I think as far as slot cornerbacks, he could be maybe in the mix.
Oh yeah, I think he'll have a chance, man. Obviously, we know Beanie Bishop, is going to get first dibs. And then, I mean, you start to look at some of those safeties, right? Juan Thornhill, the undrafted guy we brought in, Sebastian Castro. So there'll definitely be some couple of names, man, for Dante to compete with. But I'm sure he has to be feeling optimistic about it, though, man. Very optimistic.